Okay, are we live? Are we live? Or is this Memorex? Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Let me check. Microphone check. 1, 2. What is this? Welcome to another edition of Just My Opinion podcast. I believe this is episode 8, possibly 9. Season 2. How y'all living? I'm living swell. We got a good show. We got a good episode this morning. Well, this afternoon about uh the continuing saga of the Draymond Green Jordan Poole altercation. Now, if you've been living under a rock, allow your boy to explain. Jordan Poole and Draymond Green, I guess they was going at each other back and forth in dialogue. It's obvious, when you're in practice, things are turned up a notch, particularly with a high vocal player such as Draymond Green. And some words were exchanged. I don't think Draymond Green liked the choice of words Jordan Poole said. And basically, from the reports and from the people that are in and around that situation, all Jordan Poole basically said, you know what's up, you know what time it is. A lot of people are basically saying that he's basically implying that, you know, he is going to get a max contract with the Golden State Warriors. Meanwhile, Draymond Green has been champagning and campaigning for the past couple of seasons about, and let me hold on one second, guys. Hold on one second. Testing. Okay. So yeah, for the past couple of seasons, Draymond Green has been champagning and campaigning, kissing babies, shaking politicians, basically saying that look, it's he wants his money, he wants to be maxed out by the Golden State Warriors. And he's been on this campaign for the past, it's been like the second consecutive season. And Jordan Poole, after his performance last season, and if you look at the landscape, particularly of this free agency of just this year, you look at R.J. Barrett, he got his money. If you look at Tyler Hero, who's basically a reserve player, a player that comes off the bench, he got his money. There's a lot of fellows, there's a lot of guys that got their money from their organization. And if you look at what Jordan Poole has done as far as contributing to the Golden State Warriors, particularly with the run they had last season, going deep into the playoffs, and I mentioned this in videos, I think when you look at the Golden State Warriors, particularly their success as far as getting to the NBA Finals, you just can't just pin it all on one individual. I feel like there's a multitude of individuals that got them to the place where they are as far as winning a title with the Golden State Warriors winning a title against the Boston Celtics. I felt like Jordan Poole contribute to them getting to the NBA Finals. Steph Curry contribute. Klay Thompson contribute. And if you want to give some credit to Draymond Green contribute. Now, if you go to as far as who contribute the most, obviously I feel like it was Steph Curry and Poole and Klay Thompson keeping them in ball games, particularly in series. And you would have a little, you'll have a little contribution from series to series by Draymond Green. Now, a lot of people will sit up here and tell you guys that NBA Finals, it wasn't like the Golden State Warriors just dominated the Boston Celtics. A lot of people refer to this analogy that really the Boston Celtics beat themselves, not the Golden State Warriors. A lot of people, a lot of insiders, a lot of people that say they know basketball, a lot of the talking heads on sports media as well as social media implies that the Boston Celtics were really really lost the NBA Finals more so than the Golden State Warriors winning the finals. But if you look at the finals with a microscope, well, with a you can see that not even with a microscope, with your own two eyes, you can see that Draymond Green wasn't really an important factor in the NBA Finals. It wasn't like Draymond Green, was D'ing up the best offensive skilled players of the Boston Celtics. It wasn't like Draymond Green was, D'ing up, Brown and Tatum. He wasn't, okay? I'm not sitting up here and saying that Draymond Green was just sat in the bus and just drove and he just sat in the bus and they just drove him to a championship. But I am going to say, I don't think Draymond, I think either way, if you take the analogy of, well, the Boston Celtics lost that NBA Finals is the reason why they won with the high turnover count, then what the Golden State, it wasn't the fact that the Golden State Warriors did more, it was just the Boston Celtics killed themselves more as far as winning a title. That's what everyone alludes to, So if you're going to take that analogy, then you just can't sit up there and say, and sit up there and say, well, the the Golden State Warriors and the players in the organization, they were the experience of the Golden State Warriors is the reason why they won the NBA Finals over the Boston Celtics. If you're going to take that opinion and that approach, if you look at what they did in the finals, Draymond Green was absent when they needed him the most. Steve Kerr pulled Draymond Green out of several games with them. I mean, his minutes were reduced. Steve Kerr relied more so on the young gunners, the Jordan Pooles, the Kumingas, the Wisemans. Steve Kerr relied on that young core more so than Old Faithful, which was Steph and Clay, the Splash Brothers. Clay, and I'm not sitting up here and telling you Klay Thompson did not have a phenomenal season. I mean, some phenomenal games. I felt like Klay Thompson kept them close in a lot of games and kept them from not losing a lot of games, if you want to say that. Steph Curry was Steph Curry in those games. But it wasn't like Steph Curry was lights out, hands, the best player on both teams. It wasn't that point. It just, when Steph Curry went off, but it wasn't the Steph Curry impact wasn't a major factor in why they won the series over the Boston Celtics. A lot of these guys, a lot of these insiders, a lot of these ex-jocks, a lot of these vloggers, bloggers, social media influencers, YouTube content providers, they all say hands down the real reason why the Golden State Warriors won a title was the simple fact of the Boston Celtics had a high turnover rate in those NBA finals. That's what you guys lean to. That's what the majority says. So fast forward to what took place last week. And I feel like all of this is what I just mentioned in the past 9 minutes. I feel like all of this was weighing heavy on the shoulders of a Draymond Green. Draymond Green saw his future right in front of him. He saw that he's been champagning and campaigning for a max contract. The Golden State Warriors should reward him for a max contract. and they should reward him because of the fact he's the guts and the glue of this team. He's the heartbeat of this team. He's the emotional one of this team. Not because of the simple fact that he's more talented than anybody on that ball club. Not because he plays a major importance to this ball club. Not because of his impact. It's just a simple fact of the Golden State Warriors should reward him because he's the heartbeat of the team. Folks, can you rate a heartbeat? Is that what we look for in these NBA drafts? Not the most talented, not the most productive, not the most skillful, not the most dominant. We look at whether or not you got the biggest heartbeat out of any player that's in the NBA draft. Is this where we're leading to? Is this where we're going? So you got that. Then on top of, he's been campaigning for the past couple of years, haven't seen the light of the end of the tunnel of whether or not the Golden State Warriors are going to max him out. I don't think the Golden State Warriors are going to max him out. I think the Golden State Warriors will give him an acceptable contract from their standpoint. I don't know so much for Draymond Green. And then Draymond Green sees these young guys that the Golden State Warriors have drafted, that have cultivated, that these young players accept their role, they accept their responsibility, they respect the organization, they highly respect Steve Kerr. There's a fruitful communication between Steve Kerr and these young gunners. The Wisemans, the Kumingas, the Jordan Pools, they are all falling in line and understand what it takes to win a title. With the experience and the fact that you still have the Splash Brothers. You still have Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. That's another thing that weighs heavily on Draymond Green. Not to mention the fact Draymond Green, if you just compare Draymond Green, okay, if one had to go, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, or Draymond Green, who's the one that's going to go? Obviously, it's going to be Draymond Green. Klay Thompson, he had his bouts with injuries, but the future is bright for the Golden State Warriors and Klay Thompson. Steph Curry is not getting any younger, but with skill should never deteriorate. I think Steph Curry can still shoot those spectacular shots. He's that talented. He's that skillful. So Steph Curry obviously is going to be in this ball club for quite some time. They're in no hurry to rush Steph Curry into retirement or to trade Steph Curry. The same could be said for Klay Thompson. Can the same be said about Draymond Green? No, because you got players already established on the Golden State Warriors that, one, are younger than Draymond Green, two, that is coachable, that's more coachable than Draymond Green, three, doesn't have the baggage like Draymond Green, and they're less expensive than Draymond Green. So Draymond Green sees his future. He knows that he doesn't have much of a future with the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors, if y'all, when you saw the NBA Finals, if you take anything out of the NBA, take anything away from the NBA Finals, you should take the fact that the Golden State Warriors are going to be all right without the services of Draymond Green. It was proven evident in the finals. And it goes to the point of a lot of Draymond Green fans think that Draymond Green is irreplaceable. You can't find another player like Draymond Green. Draymond Greens don't fall often off the tree. That's what a lot of Draymond Green fans will sit there and tell you, a lot of the media members will echo those same sentiments. Oh, it's hard to find a player such as Draymond Green. He's this precious treasure that the Golden State Warriors should reward him. They should give him whatever he wants. Even though Draymond Green has friends in the media that's working for Draymond Green so Draymond Green can get a max contract. There's levels to this, folks. You got all these ex-jocks and all of these personalities that sit up there and tell you how important Draymond Green is to the Golden State Warriors. You got fans of the Golden State Warriors. You got fans of Draymond Green. You got basketball fans in this era that knows nothing else about the previous eras, only about this era. And they sit up there and tell you in volume that Draymond Green is irreplaceable. You just can't find another Draymond Green. There are not a lot of them that fall far from the tree. If I tell you, if you take Draymond Green from the Golden State Warriors and you replace Draymond Green with JaVale McGee, you mean to tell me the Golden State Warriors still wouldn't win those titles? Folks, if I tell you, if you take Draymond Green out of the Golden State Warriors and put Steven Adams in his place, you mean to tell me the Golden State Warriors still won't win titles? This is the era where stats can be misleading. Folks, 3 years ago, a lot of you guys that only know about this era of basketball, 3 years ago, you guys were complaining that Russell Westbrook, when he was averaging a triple-double, you guys were saying in volume, well, it's getting a triple-double in this era is not as significant like it was in previous generations, in previous eras. And I can co-sign to that. You already done speeded up the game. You set rules and precedents to today's basketball where a defender has to give space to the offensive player. There are no hand checking. You're not slowing down the game. You're speeding up the game, which means a higher volume of scoring. There's no presence of defense or a defensive-minded coach. A defensive-minded coach would not make it in today's NBA because how the rules are set up, they set up to benefit the offensive player. And that's the problem with today's basketball. Today's basketball is not like yesterday's basketball. And I don't want to be the old man on the yard that's sitting in the yard saying, yesterday's players would dominate today's players. I'm not going to go that far with it. But I'm just saying the way how it's set up, the tempo, the way how, the styles are mixed up, there's no emphasis on a two-way player. If you can block shots religiously, if you can get rebounds religiously, if you can D up your defender religiously, teams are not looking for that type of player. And if they get those players are they only last on those teams temporary. They don't get max contracts because they can defend a player, or they can get blocks, or they can get rebounds, or they can get stops. The money goes to the talented players who can score the bucket in the basket, because that's what today's rules are set up for. If you can't score, there's no need for you in today's modern basketball. So when y'all guys say, Well, just because Russell Westbrook's averaged a triple-double is not as important as it once was in the 60s, 70s, and in the 80s. Early 90s as well, too. So if you're going to use that logic, look at Draymond Green's stats for a second, guys. He's 28, 7, and 7. He scores 28 points. And I think I got his scoring up a little too high. I think he's 20. He's around 27 and 7. And a lot of people think that that's a good stat line. Numbers don't lie. Women lie, men lie, but numbers don't lie. But in today's basketball, stats shouldn't be the main increment on whether or not a player is good enough. Particularly in today's basketball, it's not necessarily about the assist or the rebounds. There are some teams out there, if they get X amount of turnovers, they're still in the ball game. Because if you got scorers, you're going to be always involved in ball games. So when you guys big up a Draymond Green, you have to understand with a shadow of a doubt, Draymond Green is not. Golden State Warriors success is going to still be successful with or without the services of a Draymond Green, particularly if you look at what they have done thus far in the draft. I feel like the Golden State Warriors have done better in the draft than teams that have tanked, got a higher draft pick, and they're still tanking and getting a higher draft pick. The Golden State Warriors have been very competitive even through the lean years when Klay Thompson has been on and off the court, when Steph Curry had the nagging injuries and been on and off the court. Folks, if you look at when Steph Curry and Klay Thompson has both been off the court and Draymond Green is the most talented player on the court, the Golden State Warriors are not going anywhere with Draymond Green, because Draymond Green, as big as a heartbeat that he has, as being the vocalist player, none of those things apply in winning basketball. So what? You can yell, scream, and be boisterous. It doesn't guarantee you winning a title or winning ball games. So what? You got the biggest heartbeat in the team. It doesn't apply to whether or not a team's going to win or lose or win a title. And a lot of people don't realize they got a lot of evidence in front of them that Draymond Green does not take teams to the promised land. He doesn't even take teams into being somewhat competitive. So all the people out there saying, "Oh well, Draymond Green is irreplaceable. They have no choice but to max him." No. They're showing you guys that they have their replacements. Jordan Poole is going to get a max contract with the Golden State Warriors. It is first on their priority sheet. If you look at what Draymond Green has gotten over his whole career with the Golden State Warriors, Draymond Green has been overpaid, folks. He had multiple opportunities to get his money, and he got his money. But when you're past your prime and you don't really bring anything of substance to the table, then what are we talking about? Is this a longevity contract that you've been with the Golden State Warriors for X amount of years? Therefore, we have to max you out. Is that the argument? Is that the excuse why we're going to give you this money? Or I remember the Miami Heat was in the same predicament with Dwayne Wade. And guess what the Miami Heat did? Even though Dwayne Wade multiple years took far less for the Miami Heat to be very competitive to be allowed to get the services of a Shaquille O'Neal, to get the services of a LeBron James. If they would maxed out Dwayne Wade in those years, they wouldn't have had the opportunity to get a Shaquille O'Neal. They would not have gotten an opportunity to get a LeBron James. So LeBron James could take his talent to South Beach. People forget that if sacrifice is the most biggest important thing in championship basketball, there's someone that's going to have to sacrifice. Dwayne Wade sacrificed so he can get multiple titles with LeBron James. In order for LeBron James to take his talents to South Beach, in order for Chris Bosh to come to South Beach. That's why the Miami Heat were allowed to get those types of players and have that type of a success rate. If Dwayne Wade would have out the box said, no, pay me, max me out, they would not have the opportunity to get those titles. It's just that simple, folks. I understand Draymond Green sacrificed a lot. Draymond Green sacrificed his minute. He sacrificed his touches. He sacrificed him getting somewhere in the record books as an individual. He sacrificed establishing that he's a star as well. All of that is commended. But the Golden State Warriors are not going to reward him with a contract where they're going to max him out and don't have the opportunity to max out Poole. Now, the Golden State Warriors have already publicly let it be known that they don't mind being over the salary cap. They don't mind paying a luxury tax. But the only way they're going to do that if they get multiple players in return. They're not going to do that just to have Jordan on the max contract and have Draymond Green on the max contract. That's just not going to happen, folks. And that was the issue with Draymond Green with Jordan Poole. He saw his future. He saw his replacement. And Draymond Green did what Draymond Green does. Got in a scuffle, got into an argument, and got into a fight. I told you guys, that is bad leadership. You can't count on an individual such as Draymond Green that emotionally checks out. And that was the problem. Now, Draymond Green apologized. Draymond Green is going to step away from the team. And a lot of people, including Draymond Green, is saying, well, who leaked the tape? Folks, if we didn't have the tape, we wouldn't know the extent of this altercation. We wouldn't have known that Poole really didn't say anything ugly to Draymond Green or to his family. If being highly confident of yourself is a crime, then the majority of us would commit that crime, particularly when you work your butt off day and night and day to be the very best version you can possibly be. And you're going to be rewarded with a contract for your services. I know a lot of people that be very confident in themselves, particularly if they work so hard to get to the point where they are today. Draymond Green isn't mad that the video got leaked. Draymond Green is not jealous of Jordan Poole. Draymond Green sees the future. He knows that the Golden State Warriors are not going to give him anything close to a max contract. And he also knows that the Golden State Warriors are moving on with their younger stars, their younger players. They want to take care of them. You can't take care of your young talent and still take care of your older players. You have to compromise as an owner, as an organization. And as a player, you too have to compromise as well. It's funny how Draymond Green a couple of weeks back talked about Robert Salvo. You guys know I butcher names on a consistent basis. Basically, he said that the owners should vote whether or not to keep Robert Salvo as the owner of the Suns. I wonder if Draymond Green feels the same way about himself. Is he going to allow the players to vote whether or not he still belongs in the league? Now, me personally, I feel like the ones who are cool with Draymond, they're going to vote him and he's going to be allowed into the league. But it's just the NBA league. But it's just the principle of it, in my opinion. Draymond Green sees his value and sees his future. It does not look good if he wants to continue to stay with the Golden State Warriors. If he thinks that he's going to get a max contract with the Golden State Warriors. Now, I do feel like this is sort of out of bounds what a lot of content providers are doing on YouTube. Now they're making assumptions that, Draymond Green wants to be with the Los Angeles Lakers. Okay. The same people that swore up and down Kyrie Irving was going to be a starter for the Los Angeles Lakers. The same people broke down and said the possibility of Kevin Durant being a Los Angeles Laker, Giannis being a Los Angeles Laker player. All right. It just goes on and on. It just seems like the best players, they always put their face in their thumbnail and say this XYZ player is going to the Boston Celtics. And you can tell that this stuff is fictional. A lot of these guys are in fictional land. Hold on one second. Okay. Yeah. A lot of these guys are in fictional land. They just make scenarios just to get the clicks and views. Everyone's chasing the clout. But Draymond Green sees the writing on the wall, and he knows that he doesn't have much longer until he's no longer a member of the Golden State Warriors. Now, he can continue to be a member of the Golden State Warriors, but he's going to have to take far less to continue to be with the Golden State Warriors. Because the Golden State Warriors are looking at new horizons. They're looking at Kuminga. They're looking at Wiseman. They're looking at Jordan Poole. They're looking at a lot of these players that they drafted and cultivated and trained and believed, had the utmost confidence in with their skill and their capability. And they knew that these players are going to be very important factors as far as the team winning ball clubs. And that's basically, in a nutshell, what is transpiring and going on. And I just wish Draymond Green the best. I just think that I just think and I believe that Draymond Green, no matter what he believes, his differences or whatever, that Draymond Green is a smart individual, and he should definitely move on to the second stage of his career. If he wants to still play in the NBA, go right at it. But if you're Draymond Green, why are you continuing to play in the National Basketball Association? It's not like you're close to a major uh, stat that you want to achieve. I mean, he was never a stat patter to begin with. It's not like you want to be in the most all-star games. There are really no individual stats or achievements that Draymond Green wants to be associated with. All Draymond Green wants to do is win ball games and hopefully win titles. That's it. But if you can't come to an agreement with the Golden State Warriors as far as a contract extension, if it's not worth your liking, then Draymond Green should go into the next phase of his life, which is being in journalism, being with TNT. He already has a contract with TNT. He's already on the paywall, if you want to call it a paywall, as being an NBA analyst for Inside the NBA. I think he's phenomenal at it. He also likes doing podcasting and things of that nature. There's a lot of stuff that I like that Draymond Green does off the basketball court. And I think Draymond Green is going to be phenomenal as an analyst. I don't think he's going to be good enough to be better than Charles Barkley. The one thing I like about Charles Barkley is he just says what he wants to say, and he's very charismatic and funny. All right. I think Draymond Green is likewise. Draymond Green is going to be Draymond Green's going to be very good as an analyst. I don't think he's going to be better or enough where we're going to say Charles Barkley, who I don't think he can replace Charles Barkley, but I do feel like he'll be great. Working alongside Charles Barkley, Ernie Johnson, and Shaquille O'Neal. I think a 4-man group will suck bad, but I think it'll only be short term until Charles Barkley decides to retire from Inside the NBA. I don't think there's no one on their set. There's no one under their payroll that can replace the talents of Charles Barkley, but it is what it is. But yeah, I just think Draymond Green should just move on to the next chapter of his life. I don't see how this is going to be favorable for him. He's not going to get a max contract with the Golden State Warriors. And if the Golden State Warriors release him or he just walks away from the Golden State Warriors, I don't think there's a team out there that's going to give him a max dollar contract. But it is what it is. Guys, I'm wrapping up. If you have any questions or any concerns or thoughts, now is the time to hit the comment section. If not, I'm fixing to bounce up out of here, and I'll see you guys next week. Give y'all guys a few seconds if you want to say a few things. But yeah, I mean, that's all I got for Draymond Green. For anybody that just now gotten to this point, I suggest you to watch the beginning of it. I talked about Draymond Green and the incident that he's currently finds himself in, as well as I talk about the future of Draymond Green. But I don't see any comments in the comment section, so I'm basically going to end this. I had fun doing this, guys. Tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. I'm up out of here. I'll talk to you guys very soon. Deuces, outro.